Okay, so we completed on this about 3-4 weeks ago. This is the rear of the building. The next door here has been recently converted into 4 flats and a retail unit at the front, as you can see. We're on the main road. There's a brand new Aldi just been built over the road, as you can see there. And our office, if you just turn over there, our office is just down that little by the penny farthing. So this is my hometown. The plan is to buy quite a few buildings around here. There's a lot of empty stuff, as there is in a lot of Midland and northern towns. We're looking to buy loads of them and convert them into, generally speaking, mixed commercial stuff. So commercial downstairs, residential upstairs, whether that be good quality HMOs or flats on the uppers. So let's just show you around here. Okay, so the electric's not on. But as you can see, this thing hasn't been touched. I think the shop actually shut about 15 years ago, and the seller of the property, her partner passed away. I think he committed suicide, unfortunately, and she just was too emotionally attached to do anything with the property. As you can see, it's full of stuff that's been here a long time. There's structural problems with it, hence the reason we had to use a bridging loan to acquire it. I'll talk more about that later, about how we bought it, the numbers and whatnot. But this is the front of the shop there. As you can see, that's the shutter at the front. That's why you can't see out properly. And what we've agreed with planning granted, is that the shop is going to remain to about here. So this will all be retail unit. The toilet will go back here, a little kitchenette unit there as well, you know, tea station and whatnot. And the rear is for the residential. So the residential tenants are going to come in through that door there, and then we are going to go up the stairs. So there are structural problems, as I've said, that we were aware of, that we got negotiated on the price because of the structural issues. You see the bow in that wall there. I don't know if you can actually see it on the camera. Oh, Jesus. But it's, yeah, that's going to need to be sorted out. It's not as big a job as some people might think, to be honest, because it's a mid-terrace. So each floor is one apartment, basically. We've got, there's the stairs there as we've just walked up. So this will be one apartment, and this will be a corridor. So the people on the top floor, this 3-storey building, will just walk down here and up the stairs. There's a lot of space here that we will be utilising as well. I'd probably say this hasn't actually been touched probably since the 80s. Would you think?
Yeah.
The state of it.
Wow. I mean,
so if you look at all this here, cracks galore. But they're nice big flats. When they're going to be done, they're going to be good units. Bring them to the market.
What sort of bedrooms?
One bed flats. We did consider a HMO, but the council that we're dealing with here generally are more favourable of apartments rather than HMOs, understandably in a way.
Mm.
So if I'll talk through the numbers. We bought this for 120,000. It's going to cost us circa 100 grand to do, maybe pushing 110 with a contingency. And then it should be, we've got interest on the debt we used to buy it as well, and the development money. It should be worth circa 350, 360,000. So if you work that out, 120 grand, let's say 110 for the development. You're up to 230, and then if you put 15% on for your holding costs, your interest on your debt, stamp duty. Actually, there was no stamp duty on this because it's commercial under 150,000. So yeah, there's a nice profit margin in it for us, God willing, and hopefully we get the valuations that we need. The turnaround time should be about 3.5 to 4 months, latest 4 months. So we hope to be refinanced and out probably by mid-month 6 into month 7. Hopefully we're out, pay everybody back, pay the investors back. We used a bridging company to acquire, and the down payment come from an investor. So no money in for our good selves. We're just, we're sort of the 50% joint venture partner with the person who put the down payment in, and all the costs and all the fees and everything. So as I say all the time, like when people say you need loads of money to do these property transactions, you don't. You just need to know the right people, have the right network, and just know what you're doing really. It's either you bring the money, you bring the time, or you bring the experience. And if you've got all three of those things, you're laughing. If you've got none of them, you're struggling. But if you can bring one, you can partner with other people with the other qualities. We could have done this ourselves quite comfortably, but the reason we didn't is because we know with this investor, we're going to be able to do 5, 6, 7 more deals in the next 12 months with him. So that's why we bring them into the deal, share profits, and then you build a mutual relationship, and hopefully a fruitful one. Is there anything do you think I've missed?
No, not really. So the investor who's putting the money in initially, you're giving him a return on that and pushing...
No, he's 50% of the company.
Sorry.
So he'll have 50% of the equity, he'll have 50% of the rent roll and everything.
Right.
But he doesn't necessarily need cash. He doesn't need the cash flow really. He's a wealthy guy. So what will probably happen, as has happened before, is that both of us will leave the profits in the company and we'll just keep recycling the money into different deals. And we might take a dividend out at the end of the year, something like that, depending on people's tax positions and whatever.
Okay.
Again, it's all of this, as I've mentioned in previous videos, the last few I've done, a lot of this is all to do with what's going on between your ears. It's like, can you structure deals the right way for the investors and for the sellers and for you as a buyer so that everybody wins in the deal? Like this seller here, she was, in all fairness, she was a bit of a nightmare to deal with, bless her, because she didn't want to leave Wolverhampton to go to a solicitor. She didn't want to do anything digitally. She said she couldn't log into her email address. So we paid for her legal fees, but we literally had to like go into the solicitors for her outside of her office where she works and actually walk her into the solicitors just to make sure everything got done, because otherwise we wouldn't have. This took about 3 months to acquire, and we bought it with a bridging loan where I've worked with these bridges before. That could have been done in 2 weeks, and it took 3 months because the seller wasn't proactive. One of the tips that I give some of the guys that I work with and some of the guys that ask for advice is like, try and control the whole transaction. Solicitors, the sellers, if you're paying the sellers solicitors fees, which is often the case when you do private deals without estate agents. When you do that, very often you suggest using solicitors that you know are good. And what we did with this seller is we suggested one, but because she didn't have an email address that was working and she didn't want to do anything over the emails and whatever, she wanted to go into we had to change solicitors. And the solicitors were not great. They were like mom and dad solicitors who do everything rather than just property, whereas I prefer to just work with property solicitors who do that every day. So a tip is control the whole transaction and use good solicitors so you can control the whole deal as it's progressing. You can generally get things done a lot quicker then as well. Any questions, put them in the comments below. Appreciate the interactions, and I appreciate all the feedback.